I know you're on the show every Tuesday, Takedown Tuesday. I tune into you guys. You do a great job. But introduce yourself to the audience real quick.
Antrell Taylor, 157 pounds. I wrestle here at the University of Lincoln.
And just won a national champion.
Just won a national title. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, too.
So what was that? I'm sure you've talked about this, but for the folks who haven't heard you talk about this, what was that like for you? It'd been about a decade since Nebraska had won one. Jordan Burroughs, you guys go out and do it twice this year.
Yeah.
You go to the Big Ten championships, you do really well, and you're gaining momentum. You go to the national championships, you finish number 2 in the country as a team. But what was it like as the season went along? You guys, I watched your first match. I'm not trying to be a downer. I watched your first match versus Iowa. Not you, but the team. Not what you wanted.
Definitely
the
not.
second was much better. You guys just got better as the season went along. Talk about that journey.
Yeah, I feel like as the season progressed and the Big Ten season especially, we just we did a good job of building on, even if it was a win or a loss, we just continued to pay attention to the end goal and not get too caught up in what was going on. Win or lose, we would just head down working. So I just think that the faith and just continue to believe in the end goal of things. I think that's what got us to the position that we ended up getting.
So we will get back to the Florida and their national championships. When you have an actual national champion in the room, he gets the floor. All right.
Yes, sir.
So talk to me about a guy like Coach Manning. This dude has been great for 2 decades, and then he wins the tournament coach of the year. Maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I am. Somehow I feel like he's flown under the radar, but now he's finally starting to get the recognition that I feel he deserves. But talk to me about a guy like Coach Manning and what makes him so good.
Yeah, he's a hard-nosed, blue-collar worker. Like he doesn't expect things, and I think that's why our culture is as good as it is, because he sets the standard, and we see him come in fired up each and every day, ready to go, and we look at him as like a role model, honestly, and he's great in all aspects of not just wrestling, just outside of life, and that's what's gonna get him. That's what got him to being the coach that he is. So
does he attack every day like a rat on a Cheeto?
Yeah, like a rat on a Cheeto. Seriously,
awesome.
He was saying that saying all day today. Rat on a Cheeto, rat on a Cheeto. Then he said the GW one, the George Washington. So I had somebody on their back. He was like, "Yeah, that's GW." I was like, "Yeah." See you later.
So explain to me. I can figure out what that means. I'd not heard that.
Nah,
but where did that come from? What does that exactly mean?
That means like he's over. He's done. Done for.
Yeah.
Basically,
all right.
Yeah.
Doesn't stand a chance. The day doesn't stand a chance.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that. All right, man. talk to me. You're at the Nationals tournament, and I'm sure you've talked about this elsewhere, but I don't want anybody to miss the opportunity to hear this. You're at the Nationals tournament. You guys are doing well, and you're advancing, and you're getting ready for the national championship match. Like, you go on the mat, you win this match, you're going to walk off a national champion. Was there pressure, excitement, anticipation, nerves? What was it like for you?
Yeah, the nerves are definitely there. I usually don't get too nervous, but leading up to that finals match, just watching Ridge and seeing how close that one was, I was just like, dang. And then actually, I was ready to go. I was bouncing around in the tunnel, and they were like, it's a 10-minute break. So I got all fired up, and I was like, dang, I got to sit here and wait 10 more minutes. So, yeah, the nerves are definitely going, but when that whistle blew, it was it was another wrestling match. I was ready to go.
So you win the match. When does it actually settle in? Like, when does it become real? Like, I'm a national champion. When does that moment occur?
It settled when all those cameras were in my face and they're interviewing me. I was like, dang, this is nuts. Like, this is how I feel to be a national champ. So, yeah, it settled in actually settled in a week afterwards. And I was just sitting there like, dang, looking at all the posts. People like hometown heroes, stuff like that. That's when I was like, yeah, I actually did the thing.
So talk to me about, hop in here if you got a question too, Austin. Talk to me about being from Omaha. You said hometown hero and all that. Being from Omaha, being a Nebraska kid. How much more does that mean to you, being from Nebraska, being from Omaha?
Yeah, it means a lot, because there's a lot of kids where I'm from that they don't really make it. They don't make it to college. They just end up working somewhere or doing their own thing to make some money. So being from where I'm from, it means so much that I can put my city on the map and get the recognition that I'm getting, and getting my city more recognition just in general. So it means a lot to me for sure. And the city.
What is the culture of Nebraska wrestling as a state, right? You grew up in the state. Is wrestling growing? Is it getting more popular?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I definitely see wrestling growing, not just males, but female wrestling. That's growing, especially growing way more than male wrestling. But yeah, it's definitely starting to get big around in Nebraska.
What's your selling point to a young kid who's looking for a sport to get into? Why should they get into wrestling?
I feel like you should get into wrestling because it betters you as a person on the mat and off the mat, because it brings because you got to really work towards something. You can't quit. Like it's gonna be little things that happens in wrestling, and you got to just overcome the adversity. And adversity is a big thing in life. You usually got to overcome adversity almost every day. So I feel like wrestling helps with that.
I feel like wrestling's probably the sport with the most like day-to-day focus on that discipline, right? You
Yeah,
can't take a day
discipline.
off. Otherwise,
Definitely.
hey, there's another pound that's up. You
Discipline,
got to cut.
that's like the biggest thing. That's what makes people great in life. So discipline, I would say, is another good thing to have.
So
when you're
I've
going wrestling.
never actually wrestled. I watched the stuff with steel cages and steel chairs. Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. WWE.
Yes,
WWE.
yes. And the like. But I've had multiple people who played football and wrestled, played basketball and wrestled, played baseball and wrestled. Everybody I've ever talked to says wrestling is the toughest sport. And there's probably other sports I've never asked anybody about, but wrestling is the toughest sport that they've ever done. Why do you think that's the consistent answer I get to that question?
Because it's mentally and physically draining. Like it's little things out there that we're doing that just it's hard to do. Like and people don't really notice it. Just from the outside looking in, it just looks like we're kind of just sitting there, So, but it's a tough sport. But in all aspects, not even in practice. Like each and every day, you have to be ready, or else something to happen.
You got anything else, Austin?
One more, Antrell. Was there a moment during the national tournament that it clicked in your head, like, I got a chance to do this thing. I can be a national champion?
It was after my second match. I went out there and pinned the dude in like a minute. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm locked in. I'm locked in. Hey, these dudes let me catch my groove, and I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
It was after that match.
I appreciate you taking the time to join us, man.
Thank
Dude,
you
it's
for
nice to
letting me
meet you. You're welcome anytime, man. Thank you.